There you go. So when it comes to JJK Phatom Parade, we have seen the plethora of content to come, and of course all of this is within a 2-month span period of it releasing on global. So with all that being said, we've got a rough idea on what to look out for. So we're here primarily to look at the new characters. First things first, DAGON. He is the newest free character that you use your medals for, of course, yellow typing, and we've got an overall look on what we can expect with this character. Now, I was pretty much spot on with what the translations were saying, but there's a little bit more to it. So first things first, he can stun enemies while healing his own HP and granting himself damage reduction. Using his domain expansion, he will grant damage reduction and his skills apply DOT. So there's a lot, just by the brief explanation of what this character is doing, there is a lot to unpack. So first things first, the vibe that I'm getting immediately with this character is a tank. I'm getting an upfront tank unit to absorb a lot of the damage. Hindering the enemy by applying stun, I probably think it's going to be probably around it's a free-to-play character, so I think it's going to be below 50%, 40, 30 might be where they're probably going to be looking at. Not sure if it's going to be AoE or single target, probably single target, who knows. But so hindering the enemy, damage reduction, not just by himself with his skills, but it also is reapplied once again through his domain expansion. And with the domain expansion, I assume that the damage reduction at that given moment will be a hell of a lot, hence why we can lead him in to be more of a tank of a unit. Whilst all this is transpiring, of course, he is healing himself, so kind of exactly what you want. Now, I've already spoke about how I would love for him to get some form of taunt. Maybe in the domain expansion he taunts the enemies for him to be the focal point. That could be something. With all of that, we then get a little bit of DOT play going on, which I was really hoping for, because obviously Junpei is getting his potential system awakening, if you want to call it that. So, and this unit is pretty decent for how old he is, I will say. So I'm eager to see on what we can do with the yellow typing with the whole DOT play. Not knowing to what extent DAGON is doing, but this is something that we can kind of utilize in terms of a potential DOT combination for the yellow team. So that's as much as we got with DAGON, but we'll know more about this unit come Thursday. I believe that's when he'll be available within the shop, of course. Not sure if I'm gonna get a dupe on him, because of course I do have 5k medals chilling, so I'll have to think about that. I mean, at the very least, in terms of duping out characters to anyone who is considering doing it, if you want to go just by getting the initial one dupe, that's kind of more than enough that you kind of really need for JJK Phatom Parade as like a whole for any character, just an FYI. Unless you want to go above and beyond and just go max out a favorable character like how I did with Sukuna, then you know it's kind of how you guys want to go about tackling each character if they're a favorite. So again, brief idea on what this man is doing. So yeah, it's definitely, I'm really getting that tankage upfront role from this DAGON. Really want to see what that domain expansion is about. That to me is going to be key. And on top of that, I want to know on to what extent we can apply that DOT play to try and link that up with more DOT play to see ultimately how effective we can truly make that. It seems that with this update, we've got some DOT going in here. Because of course, the next character that we need to speak about is the homie CHOSO, who is a debuffing DPS green type. Now this is where things get a little bit questionable now, because of course CHOSO is dropping on the 31st. This is a character that will be dropping later on for global in September, I believe. And obviously the big old question is obviously will it be worth it, because as it stands right now, obviously come the coming week or so, or starting from Friday that is, global will have the opportunity to get two of the best green typings in the game in terms of offense as well as support play. Alright, so it kind of shifts a lot of things, and so it really begs the question, is CHOSO worth it at that point? And I'll keep in mind with its release on global, it'll be very unfortunate because of course at that point we'll be 2 months out of the anniversary. So before CHOSO, the pre-anniversary will begin. So that's why his timing on global might be a little bit awkward, of course. But then again, eventually he'll be be available on the general pool at a later time, clearly. So anywho, so let's go back and let's go check on what is going down. So first skill deals combined damage. It increases enemies green damage received by 30% for 3 turns. Effective when flowing red scale stack state is enabled. So very similar to Kama, because Kama does have some form of state that you activate, right? So there's that. Skill 2 is the activation, obviously. So obviously you deal combined damage per usual. It grants you that flowing red scale state. It's on for 4 turns. Okay, nice. Increases own taijutsu and damage dealt by 30%. At the start of the turn, recovers own cursed energy by 5. Interesting. Skill change with glowing red scale state. Oh, okay, so the initial consumption of the cursed energy will be 5, and then once you apply it again, it will then cost 30. And with that, the flowing red scale stack state is for 6 turns. And so this will increase the Jujutsu, Taijutsu stat and damage dealt by 50%, and then decreases own damage received by 60%. But that's a 40% chance. And then moving along to the third skill, Supernova, usable with flowing red scale stack state. Oh my god, I don't know why that's a tongue twister for me. 20 cursed energy. Does range Jujutsu damage. Okay, increases the selected enemy's green damage received by 50%. God damn, 50%? Okay, hold up, wait a minute. And then the ultimate, once again, you pair that up with the second skill, and this is once again Jujutsu damage. Increases the selected enemy's damage received by 50% plus 50% total 100% for 3 turns. Okay, we got ourselves a debuff. Oh wait, that works beautifully. See, this is one thing which I was questioning. I'm just like, okay, what is this man going to be doing? Because I mean, the developers aren't stupid. They know exactly what they've done to the green typing as a whole with what we've got to work with. You know, Geto himself is a fantastic debuffer, Shoko a fantastic healer. I mean, even this Fushiguro too, nice little debuffing DPS unit too. I'm pretty sure he debuffs, if I can remember correctly. Mahito is still a fantastic free-to-play unit. Gojo is still a nuking beast. AoE nuker, God Gojo. I mean, there's a lot going on with where green typing is at right now. So it's very questionable on how they would go about doing this Chozo. But with what we're getting at right now is we're looking at some form of a debuffing sub-DPS type unit. With potential maybe main DPS, we'll see to what extent we can push it towards. But looking at where mono green is looking like, this is a nice little addition to have, because as I've stated, I mean, Geto, Shoko and Gojo, you know, these 3 together are just kind of like cracked, you know, and then it just kind of leaves that last character out. I mean, you can throw in Mahito if you wanted to. I mean, if you really wanted to get some tank or some countering going on, I mean, you've got your alternative choices in that end, outside of using other typing, of course. But to really maximize the green mono, I'm gonna be honest, Chozo is a very nice character to have, because I mean, let's be real, he's doing his own damage, which is exactly what we want, but to give the green typing as a whole, because Geto himself, he holds some power, but Gojo, to give him that extra 100%, I mean, to be fair, if that's 100% on the ultimate, could we not just stack it? Could we not go to 130, maybe even 150 on the third skill? I feel like we can push it to 150 because it's on for 3 turns. So yeah, we could do some serious big nuking numbers. So I can see the potential of Chozo, and definitely an additional character that I think will quite nicely fit in. But I'm eager to see on overall what his damage is going to be doing. But it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, what we're looking at is we are looking at a debuffer. To be fair, if you wanted to, you can quite easily opt him out for Geto. If you want to utilize a single debuffer for the team, so that way you can utilize that 4th slot to be Inamaki if you're ult chasing, if you need I forgot his name, my brain is cooked, Yaga, there we go. Oh my god, my brain was so cooked. You know, if you want to kind of utilize Yaga, or maybe Megumi in the case of going out with the damage output, of course. So yeah, interesting choice, but a choice that actually fits quite nicely. So I'm glad that Chozo is being put in a position to where I can see myself using him quite often, quite nicely, and more importantly, will be a perfect fit for the green typing. So not a bad character, not a bad character at all. Will fit quite nicely with where the green typing's at right now. Now ultimately it will come down to, because of course this is a summonable character, is he going to be worth going for? Obviously right now Global is in a slight little predicament in terms of you guys getting the 1.5 year anniversary content, of course, and CHOSO will be added later on during around about September, I think is when we're looking at the release, of course. And just to kind of keep it short and sweet, as I've said previously on how things are looking, I mean, you're going to ultimately respectfully go for Gojo. You've got your debuffer Ghetto, who will be available within the shop. He will be in the general pool, so realistically you can kind of go about combating that. CHOSO will just be a nice little addition to have for those that have the means to spend, or maybe you get lucky and you pull him for free, but I wouldn't say it's realistically a bit of a chase character. A nice character to have, a fantastic addition to have to the game itself. Usability is there for the man himself, which is fantastic, but again, from a global perspective, just with how things are being planned out and the sync up and whatnot, it just puts CHOSO in that bad predicament. So I really wouldn't say that he's a character that I would personally go for, especially if you're free to play or even if you're a low spender. Obviously at that point you're going to be so close to the pre-anniversary, going into the anniversary, and that's kind of what you want to maximize on. DAGON on the other hand, hey, it's a free character, looks promising, could be a fantastic tank for the yellow typing, and in terms of the newer content that Global is getting, you guys will find the new difficulty that the game is at, and so having a character like DAGON himself kind of being up front, being able to potentially tank a lot, that could hold a lot of value. So not to be slept on, there could be some alternative DOT play going on there which could be super effective, so we'll see on that one, of course. So of course he's a free character, make sure that you're saving your medals. But again, coming back to CHOSO, just horrible timing. Again, on the JP side of things, hey, we're going to have some fun. We've got more than enough time to get this unit, have a little bit of a, I say have a little bit of a, we're going to have a lot of breathing room in preparing for the next character. So, yeah, we're going to get this man, boys. We're going to get this man, definitely. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's just kind of going over the two kits and giving our final thoughts on how they're going to be looking, especially with where the characters are at and their team mono. But DAGON looks promising, and to be fair, CHOSO, he fits quite nicely. Viable, 100%.